welcome to Roundtable live for August 4th, 2017. I'm BaerTaffy, joined by Rockley Smile, Mathis Games, the visage of Mathis Games, what we can get of him as he attempts to connect.
The ghost of Mathis Games.
And Northern Line, welcome everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey. You're burning up there. I know it. It's all smoky and coming down here in the PNW. I got my sweat towel, actually. That's what I got over here. I'm ready for today. I am prepared,
it's like
man.
Real, like I go outside and I come back inside and I'm like, why does my throat hurt? Yeah, I just breathed in like 30 liters of smoky air.
Just wildfires all across Canada, man. Is it nearby you?
I mean, it's like several hours north,
okay.
But we're closer to you than it is to us. But at the same time, it's like it's still real smoky.
Still bad enough, man. Jeez. So
thanks a lot, Jetstream.
Kidding. So it's nice and toasty. Mathis is desperately attempting to remain on the internet for all he's worth, and Nick, you're doing good, right? I feel like you're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm as good as could be expected, I suppose. It's a little hot and muggy. It's like a rainforest over here, but I prefer that to breathing smoke or having no internet. So I'm in the best spot out of the four of us.
There you go. A little bit of optimism in that corner. I like it. Let's talk our docket. Not to say that, hey, come on, I'm not trying to suggest anything out of that. I'm just saying it's nice. Little docket here today. Take-Two is not committing to Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC for some reason. Baer is going all in on the Joy-Con. I refer to myself in the third person to maybe save myself the backlash, but I've got my visual aid here because this thing, I'm gonna tear into it. I don't like it. I don't know if
Did
you
you
can tell.
accidentally put the grip on the wrong direction?
That's not why we're doing this, but it did happen, yes.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Theater of the Absurd a little bit. That's an interesting one that Nick played this week, along with The Long Dark. Just came out of early access. Finally having the story mode added to it. That's been a long time coming, so Mathis and I are going to dig into that. Infinite Minigolf, a new Minigolf game that came out this week. Nick's going to talk about that one as well. We got Fidel Dungeon Rescue, an adorable little puzzle game that Ryan and I checked out, along with Aporia Beyond the Valley. That's sort of a... looks like a bit of a walking sim, yeah? Something like that?
First-person, mist-like exploration adventure.
Sounds right. And then, like I said, we'll dive into the Hollow Knight DLC. The first of, I suppose, a few upcoming free expansions for the game. Looks like they divided up their expected workload for that a bit. So we'll talk about the first little bit. But for now, starting off with Take-Two. They say the PC market is very important, quote-unquote, but yet they still won't commit to a Red Dead Redemption PC release. Red Dead Redemption 2 PC release, rather. What's the take from this one, right? Take-Two?
But you can get two takes. You don't have to have just one.
Yeah.
I think they want you to take twice. Is the idea.
Actually amazing that I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, it seems like... it's hard to explain, I guess, is what I'm trying to say without sounding like a jerk, but if Take-Two did exactly this for Grand Theft Auto 5 and GTA 5 has sold, like, the most games on console ever and then almost the most copies on PC ever, why wouldn't they just do exactly the same thing again and release it on consoles for, like, a year exclusive and then take that time to really polish up the PC port, make it amazing, and then make, like, $1 billion on that as well?
Before we dig our teeth into that, because that is like far and away the most obvious take from this, is there any other way to read it?
There's several.
Okay.
One could be they don't like the way the game engine is handling console, so they want a PC. They want a guaranteed set of hardware that they can optimize with. I don't buy it, but that's an option. Second option, they don't like the bunch of shit they got into with all the modding problems on PC. And as sort of a secondary angle to that one, they just don't like piracy in general, so they want to steer completely clear of PC as a platform. So those are other options, might be viable, maybe a combination of them, or maybe they just literally haven't said that they're gonna put it on PC yet.
Which
is also sort of the Occam's Razor version.
Yeah, like we're kind of giving them a little bit too much credit, I suppose, if we wanted to lean toward that, guess that they're just not committing to it for whatever reason.
Too little credit, probably. Yeah, they could just say next week, we're just going to release it on PC.
Right.
I think we're right though, saying they're going to give it a year and do the same thing as GTA 5.
And like by their own admission, they're not really. It's not like the PC market is a foreign entity to them, you know. Like they are handling Civilization releases, XCOM releases on the PC, and they're obviously doing just fine with that. So this is, you know, it's not untreaded waters, especially with a massive release like this. So
Fourth or fifth reason, they might have just gotten paid a shitload of money to keep it on console for a while.
Yeah, sure. That's, you know, that makes way more sense actually than a few of the others. But this is not like Red Dead Redemption 2 will not be a console exclusive game, right? There's no way that
better
could
not be.
It could be.
I'll be pissed.
I would bet on it not being, but
I think Grand Theft Auto 5 sold too fucking well on PC.
I would be stunned if it weren't.
Yeah.
Like, if it weren't out on PC eventually. Just because, I mean, you could, maybe they don't like modding, but, like, do you not like modding, like, $1 billion worth?
How much
It's
do you
like,
not like
it's
modding,
like
right?
literally, it probably cannot make as much money as GTA 5 just because it has broader appeal
Right.
and, like, you know, it's got a legacy that goes back more than just one game, but, like, still, it would make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Some would counter with the argument that, well, the first game was console exclusive. I just don't think that holds up after GTA 5 did as well as it did. I can't see them not wanting that money that's already on the table that they know about.
It was a different era, too. Like, in 2009 or 2010, when Red Dead Redemption came out, PC gaming was still kind of like, you know, not the major player. It was kind of like an also-ran as compared to the consoles, but I still feel like it just doesn't make sense on like an Occam's razor level for them to not come out with it on PC eventually.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. It's I again harping back on it. There's so much writing on the wall from past events where it just seems as though, like, I'm gonna be pretty salty, honestly, if it's just like them kind of brushing it under the table, you know, like, we know we don't want to commit, maybe it'll happen, we'll see, you know, you go support the console release, and then we'll talk about the PC one later. I just, like, if that is just how it all plays out, and then we see RDR2 on the PC market immediately, like a year after, it's just going to be a really salty feeling.
I say you get 3 months of not knowing about the PC version, whether or not it'll exist, and then as soon as those 3 months of it being on console are over, surprise, they're porting it. Whoa!
Yeah, that's where I'm going to be like, okay, I don't feel good
You got us
anymore.
again. Enjoy the money. Thanks.
But I'll still get it.
I can be cynical about it, but at the same time, like the PC version of GTA 5, like had, I guess was, I don't want to say built from the ground up, but like the first person mode was like 100% playable. Like you play the whole game from first person. Like there's a lot in the GTA 5 PC version that wasn't the original console
They
release.
debuted that on the PS4 version. Remember, they triple dipped with GTA 5. It
I'm
came
talking
out
about
on 360 and
original
PS3.
release, though.
Original
Sure,
release,
it's just
yeah.
that wasn't a PC exclusive feature. That was already out in the PS4 version, like, I don't know, 6 months before the PC version came out. So they almost did the same thing twice. They did like a 2-tier cascade of first you buy it on 360, then you buy it on PS4, then you buy it on PC. I know because I did that.
I think several did, yes. Would that be enough for you, though? Like, for Red Dead Redemption 2 to have PC-exclusive features that were enticing enough to justify
No, I personally am just not going to touch console version. Because I know it's going to... I'm 99% sure it's going to hit PC at some point. Like, I bought GTA 5 back on the 360 and PS3, and then bought it again on PC when it came out around PC time. I'm not going to do that this time around, because that was at a time where I was still kind of dabbling between PC and console playing, and I don't really play consoles anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll just wait.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I bought GTA 5 and played it through on PS3, and it was good. Like, I didn't... It was a great game, actually. But after playing through the PC version, like, later last year, I was like, this is way better.
Yeah.
The frame rate was like low 20s for the old consoles. It was rough.
Yeah.
The load time, I mean, I understand why they do it, but the first load time on PS3 and Xbox 360 was actually like, start up the game, hit OK, and then like go to the kitchen, to, like, take a shower, like do something like that. It took so long.
It did.
Glory days, man.
Thank goodness we don't have those consoles kicking around anymore.
Oh man, I booted up my old like white 360 like a couple weeks ago. That thing sounds like a jet engine, dude.
Yeah.
I had no idea. It's ridiculous. It's so loud. It's crazy.
You did have an idea at one point.
I did at one point, but comparatively speaking now, like I guess I just sort of tuned it out back in the day because I was like, yeah, that's just how loud the console is. That
Best
makes
we can
sense.
do.
Yeah.
Greatest minds of the industry, surely they know.
Like I did not have this opinion about it back then, but now I'm like, fuck me, that thing is obnoxious.
The S was a lot better. For sound, at least.
You got to think back through the back catalog, man. Are you talking about the S, the X, the 1, the 3? There we go.
Yeah, no, not the S box 1, X1 box S.
All right. Hey, speaking of console gaming,
Yeah.
let me talk about the Joy-Con, please.
Do it.
Why do you hate
Bear
the Joy-Cons?
hates Joy-Con. There we go. Fits
Why don't you just
perfectly
cut
on the top of
Nintendo
us.
a break, Bear?
Why
Every
don't
day.
just cut them some slack, man.
I wanna guess.
Okay,
Your
well-
hands are too big for the
Yeah.
Joy-Con.
Let me go ahead and like divide us into camps. Who wants
Okay,
to be
do it.
who's for Joy-Con?
No, I played that thing at E3 before it was released, and I came back saying that thing was uncomfortable.
All right, so you're
I'm
with
like-
me on team anti-Joy-Con.
I'm Joy-Con neutral.
Okay.
I would
Joy-Con
never use it to like. I used it to play Mario Kart, and it sucks.
Yes.
like it's really bad. But I'm not like anti-Joy-Con. I think if you're playing like the right kind of game on the Joy-Con, it's fine.
Okay.
I
Nick,
don't
where do
like
you
the
stand?
clicky. I don't like the clicky buttons and the sharp edges on the D-pads. I'm not sure I've liked a Nintendo controller other than the Pro controller since the GameCube.
Okay.
The
But
GameCube controller
that.
looks like a piece of purple Play-Doh that fell into a bag full of Lego, and they pulled it out.
Yeah, it kind of does. I at least had a black one instead of a purple one.
Okay.
But, I don't
That
disagree.
was really good. So, I fucking hate this thing, man. It
Okay.
sucks. It just sucks. It's bad. So, I've had enough experience now to get this opinion off my chest because this is now like, it's not me speculating like, oh, I bet this Joy-Con's gonna suck. No, this is me having bought a Switch, having had it for about a month now and played it on both like the handheld and on the couch, all the different variations that you can really think of. This is a shitty controller, man. This thing just is, it's, first of all, this thumbstick is the worst thumbstick I think I've like ever played with. Going back to fucking like PSP days, dude. This thing is garbage. When you're playing Splatoon with this, your options are either don't move your right thumbstick or move your right thumbstick 100% of the way in any direction. Like, it's impossible to be precise with this to any degree unless you're like, you're very focused on just a tight little minute movement.
Well, it has to be better than those little nub ones they put on like the new 3DS, right?
No, so that I don't even think that's an analog.
Yeah, I don't think
That's like, that's like remember like those laptop mice that that were in the center of the keyboard.
Somebody pulled an eraser out of the back of a pencil, shoved it in, and that's that.
I'll be the first to say that revolutionized the quality of actually playing the 3DS. But if you had to use that thing to aim in a first-person shooter, I would rather just die.
No.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is like, we're talking like standards the way Bear was talking about how shitty the loud jet engine was.
Yeah.
We
Right,
just don't know that we could have better yet.
like, I just want to I know visual aids are not doing a lot of good for our audio-only podcast listeners here, but like as best I can, you can even see just like based on the construction of the thumbsticks, there's such a drastic difference in the way that they look. Like there's so much more space for you to be able to have even like little dead zones that you can manipulate. The 360 controller I use as like, you know, the staple of this is how a controller should be made. But most thumbsticks, I feel like have the general idea of how this works, you know? Like I've never really had an issue where, Jesus, I feel like I can't use this thing. Like I really can't play games with it. It sucks.
Not only is that joystick kind of garbage, but its placement is also trash.
Yeah.
Directly below the buttons makes it so hard for you to go from joystick to button, where on a 360 there's a diagonal, so it's natural movement. You don't have to move your hand up and down on the grip. That was another complaint I had with the Joy-Cons, is like just the placement is so bad.
Yeah.
I know, like, this is not... Let me just say that I'm not ignorant of the hand-waviness of this solution, because it is not $0, but, like, if you just buy the Pro Controller, it's not...
The Pro Controller fixes
me-
everything. Yeah. Yep.
We've got a part 2 to this, I promise.
I understand the pro controller is like more expensive than any controller should be, but it is the solution to the Joy-Cons being not suitable for what I would describe as core games.
This is like, I'm making this argument, though, because I feel I must. Because you have, like, this is a supplementary item. This is not your default. This is your default.
Why is it so expensive?
And it's $80 fucking bucks or
Why is it
$70
so
or something like that.
That's a valid question.
Yeah.
Like,
is it because they know you need to buy it? Like, what?
I'm not. Hold on. I'm not finished with this though.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Things because it's
Go
just
ahead,
like.
go ahead.
Let me get started on this little doohickey too. Let me.
okay,
like,
now I'm
this
100% with you on
Same.
that moronic
Garbage.
piece of
Pure
engineering
trash.
abortion.
Dude, put it on backwards and end your own life right now.
I will not. I will not because it's impossible.
Show the people.
No, I like. Okay, you click this thing. First of all, let's give them credit where credit is due, I guess, because when you snap this thing on, it's actually very satisfying, and it gives you like a little visual indicator on the Switch. It's like, hey, you did it. But that's where it ends in the positive department. This as a controller? Are you fucking kidding me?
But
no.
it adds an inch to girth.
It sure does.
You know what I will, just to be the
Look at
guy
this
who's
shit.
like a little more pro Nintendo or pro Switch at least. Like, I do appreciate that if you buy one console, you can play 2-player games without needing a second controller.
Yes.
The thing is, though, like, both controllers are the controller that you give to your friend when he comes over. And you're like, you gotta use this one. So in the end, you probably actually want to buy two pro controllers, which is more than you would have spent to begin with.
Just look at where that thumbstick ends up. When you're talking about this being a single controller, that is dead center almost of the fucking thing.
Well, you should be using the D-pad there.
This right here, yeah.
Wait, I can't remember. Is that the D-pad or is that a plus?
That's the plus.
That's a plus button.
That's the plus
Okay,
button.
yeah.
You know how
It's
to
the
match
world's
them
tiniest.
up because you've got that little tiny indentation of a plus on this thing, which, you know, you don't find that out until after you put it on the wrong way, and then you have to put a fucking butter knife in between the little latch so you can pop it off. That's what I did.
Yeah.
It's like a console for children, mostly, right? So,
well,
like,
but how
that's
would kids figure that out before the internet? How would any child know that you have to wedge a butter knife into that little thing to pop it off if they put it on backwards?
I'm just imagining all these little kids walking up to their mom or dad and being like, well, I did this.
Yeah.
And then they go,
I don't
oh.
think this is how it's supposed to be. What?
And then they go, sorry, you just can't play with this ever again.
Yeah, it's broken.
It's broken now. It's going in the closet.
Attempts here. There we go. Okay, I actually managed to do that fairly easily. That's usually a trip in and of itself. You got to pop this little thing off. Hit this little button here. Little slide off. There you go.
I wish the plus button was actually a D-pad for ants. It's so cute.
But then, no, I like, see, the thing is, Ryan, I totally agree with you that the solution is to get this thing, which is actually like an amazing controller. This is so good.
Yeah.
This one is almost better than the 360 controller. It's got such satisfying feel. The buttons are made so
triggers are like, they feel so like every movement, the amount of pressure you apply actually feels like it matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's just a toggle switch on and off.
Tactile response is just so good.
It's heavy-ish. It's like it's a nice controller, I'll admit. I'll also say $80 is like kind of indefensible, but
it better be this fucking good, I guess, for $80 then, right?
Is it because it has the motion sensing stuff in it that it's that expensive?
I have to assume, right?
Like I don't even know how they got the idea to price it that high, unless they're justifying hardware.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That's the only thing I can really think of besides they're just gouging people, which is sadder to think of.
You can't feel how many ice cubes there are with that controller, so like
I
that's
thought you could. You can't.
does it have HD Rumble? I didn't
No, I don't think it has that.
Oh shit! Well,
That's built into the little ones.
well, okay. There's another selling point for the Joy-Con. We got to tally that up on the positives.
You don't really
Yes.
you don't need a selling point for the Joy-Con because it's like a skin tag. Like if you buy a Switch, you can't get a Joy-Conless Switch. So
Yeah.
if
Well,
for
maybe on
whatever
eBay.
reason you're buying more Joy-Cons without having lost the ones that came attached to the system, I mean,
that's where all of this stems from, man. Because there's no reason for me to get so upset about this stupid little thing if it's a supplementary tool. But with this is, unless you buy a Pro controller, this is what you're using. this and another one that looks just like it that's almost shittier because its placement of the thumbstick is almost worse.
The Joy-Con is like a controller you carry around in a fictional dystopian universe where you have to battle people in video games all the time at a moment's notice.
That's the government-designed awful one.
Yo,
Exactly.
that's an anime waiting to happen.
Yeah.
It really is. That's like a straight-up anime waiting to happen.
Well, I was watching like Live Free or Die Hard, and Justin Long unrolls one of those like shitty like rubber USB keyboards to do all this mobile hacking on, and I was like, dude, if you were a real hacker, you would probably carry around like a backpack with a real keyboard, because I can't imagine how frustrated you'd be typing on this piece of garbage all day.
The new future keyboard, they have laser ones now. It's a little cube that sits on your desk, and it projects a fictional keyboard that you tap.
Yeah, dude, I saw that in Westworld.
There's no tactile response at all. It's just where your finger breaks the light beam. It decides what letter it wants to put in.
Sounds awful.
That's the future.
To make Nintendo hate you just a little bit more, Nintendo just seems to do with the Pro Controller what they do with a game mode in Splatoon, and determine days of the week you can't use a Pro Controller, and then you have to use Joy-Con.
That's silly.
Until they unlock. What is it? Salmon Run is locked away on certain days on Splatoon 2.
Yeah, they've got like events that only go for like 12 hours and stuff like that too.
But like, I mean, this is another story, and I haven't played Splatoon 2. But why does... Let me posit a theory.
Yeah.
Does Blizzard get a pass for tavern brawls not being around all the time because most of the tavern brawls are shitty and Salmon Run is good, so people want to play it more? Is that the reason that nobody goes, hey, Blizzard, this tavern brawl was really fun, make it a permanent game mode? Like, always have Lucio Ball around.
Is that I don't know, Mathis, is that like a...
Is Salmon Run different every time?
I don't think so. It's like I haven't played much Salmon Run, admittedly. I've done like the tutorial missions on it for the most part, but I've seen other people playing it, and it seems as though it's just like kind of procedurally generated to a certain extent. They're just like, it throws a variety of bosses at you. I don't know if there's maybe like particular events that can show up, but we really shouldn't talk about this. I'm not educated enough to
I would say,
it,
as far as Blizzard is, well, just to close that argument up, I would like to see Blizzard like introduce a new themed tavern brawl every week, but let the tavern brawl run the entire week. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every Monday it changes, but they never close off Tavern Brawl.
Anyway, reel it back in.
Salmon, I get it.
This thing sucks.
Tangents.
That was good, wasn't it? Yeah,
Catching salmon.
Thank you for saving
guys.
that. Yes, that was
reel
excellent.
It in.
All right, but yeah, I don't know what like the result of this was that I was hoping for. I'm kind of just hoping to hear what other people's opinions are at this point with like their experiences playing actual games with it now, you know, because we're past the speculation and we're into the, you know, hands-on what do you actually think.
Well, so the end conclusion is it's a necessary evil because it has to be kind of bad so it's portable, I guess.
Yeah.
Could it have been much better with the amount of space and the features they wanted in it?
Like, make the whole Switch a little bigger, I guess, is the only other option. But I don't know, like, maybe they really love the
then it burns the battery faster.
Yeah, sure, there's probably other factors at play, but yeah. And then, like, the whole size issue, too, is a whole nother thing. Because I've tried to justify that to myself since the inception of it, that this is made for kids. I have to accept that my hands are too big and I'm not going to be able to use it as well because it's a thing made for children.
For kids?
I don't think it's made for kids, but I think Nintendo made it so it's maybe like a half measure between portability and also something that can be installed in your home. So I still think the Joy-Cons are a decent compromise for being able to play it at home with them, but also take it outside without having to carry like 2 controllers in your backpack or something like that.
Yeah.
But I will admit that if you only play it at home, which I do, like, you should invest in the Pro Controller ASAP because the Joy-Cons are highly suboptimal.
Yeah. And this, like I said, this thing is actually, like, pretty fucking great, too. Totally worth the money, even though it is a bit too steep of a price tag still. But this is a great controller.
What if when you bought one, there were no Joy-Cons and you just get the tablet and a Pro Controller?
No.
See? Gotta have the necessary evil.
No, because then you can't... How are you going to play the Switch in handheld mode without the handles to hold on to it?
Like
you got to find a surface and you got to kick that kickstand out and then you drop it down.
Drop it
down.
I love the way you said that.
I like that it has handles. I'm just saying, okay?
I'm doing some devil's advocate stuff. I don't know what I'm...
I get also that, like, I disagree with Nintendo's focus on portability, and I also hate the response to that criticism of, like, oh, well, in Japan they do things. Okay, but we don't live in Japan. So I'm going to criticize them through the lens of a North American user. Okay, I understand that they have to support their customers in Japan as well. Either way, though, I don't care about ever taking my Switch out of the house. Like, that doesn't matter to me at all. So I wish there was a better default controller than the Joy-Cons. Yeah. But I understand why they did it, and I think it's an okay compromise. And despite the fact that it sucks, I think it's cool that it's a pretty frictionless two-player experience, even though the controllers are kind of bad. So if you were going over to your friend's house, you could literally carry your multiplayer game console and both controllers in one hand instead of having a weird repurposed shopping bag or something like that.
Yeah.
I actually agree with Ryan on this one. Weird, right? I do think the kickstand sucks, though. There's a lot of stuff they need to fix for the second iteration if they do make another Switch. Kickstand's got to get boosted up a little bit. It's beefier, yeah. It's way too small. It's too far on one side. Could probably use some symmetrical action. Also, probably don't put the SD card underneath it. So pretty sure that's where that is. But yeah, maybe some Joy-Con improvements and make the dock not shitty and scratch the screen sometimes.
Yeah, and also warp it. Usually not a good thing, too. Let's maybe avoid that.
Wait, what's the warping one? I forgot that one.
Remember the Switch warping issues that people were having within, like, the first month? They were putting it in the dock, and it was just, like, slightly bending on them.
Yeah, mine did that. Mine suddenly bent.
Yeah.
It's like a pretty nice-looking piece of hardware. You don't want it to be broken immediately. That's really shitty. Don't do that.
It works. Stop that. Like, it warped, but it still works. So I guess that's all that matters.
That's, like, not good enough. It should not be warped.
Agreed.
In the next iteration, Nintendo, can we go ahead and avoid the console bending in half? Like, let's just not do that next time.
In
Switch
Japan, they like to have the console bend in half.
It's much more portable that way. You wouldn't understand. They're a lot more compact and efficient over there.
I was gonna say, when they're on the train, they need less space to be taking up. So when
somebody's got to get in that corner, man. So they just got to, like, get buried right in there, and then they got the corner screen, and it's perfect.
Have you guys ever seen?
It was actually curved? That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen anyone use the Switch in the wild that wasn't you?
No,
not yet.
Well, I mean, honestly, I never go into the wild, so that's mostly on me.
Well, conventions, does that count?
I would count each one as like a quarter of a count. So,
all right, so then I've probably seen a total of like 1.5.
Okay.
I've seen 1.5 people using the Switch.
I was going to class like 2 months ago, and I was coming out of the SkyTrain station, and I saw one young professional carrying around a Switch in his hand, and I was like, oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. And did you approach him and try to start up an impromptu game of 1-2 Switch?
No. In Vancouver, you don't talk to other people. Okay. Everybody's got to go somewhere.
And you got to give him the eye and then go.
He'll know.
For the audio listeners, I did the cow milking gesture. By the way,
thank you for clarifying.
That would be a weird moment.
I do really like that the top review for Best Buy. This is a nod to Ryan's GameCube controller comment. Love the colors. The controllers have a Play-Doh color look to them. So I guess they're maintaining that. Jim, the music guy, agrees with you. All right.
You like the Play-Doh colors?
I mean, I guess the colors are nice. If I got to give them another positive, the red is pleasant to look at. Okay?
I kind of hate those colors.
You do?
I like the new yellow one, but I got the gray one. So
you intentionally avoided the neon red and blue.
Yes,
huh?
Did not like that they're not symmetrical. I wanted the same color on both sides. And I understand the reasoning is probably for like a 1-player, 2-player thing, but it just freaks me out a little that it's not the same on both.
It's the reason I avoided it, to be honest to God. It's the reason I avoided the neons as well. Because I didn't like
the yellow-green is not bad.
I'm looking at the yellow, actually. It does look pretty slick.
It looks way more green than they show in the pictures, though. So you got to be prepared for that. But I like the green.
I didn't realize they had, like, these options yet.
What color was the 1P N64 controller in your household?
It
gold.
was...
I had a gold one.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Ours was the translucent purple.
Yeah, okay. I can picture that like 1,000,000% in my head
I know
right now.
exactly what controller that is.
Before I got the gold one, I had neon see-through green as well.
I had the player one was the gray, and then like player 2 was like the fat, ugly green one that didn't even have the full long handles on the side. They got cut off.
I remember that.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
Those make me sad.
That gray was that looked like a piece of garbage too, dude. I don't know why it was. That gray one always looked so much worse than the other ones.
There's something about like gray plastic that it just at the time I was like, this is the future, and I look back and I'm like, that's a piece of shit. Like that's actually just it's like the worst looking, like, no, because user design has like changed so much in the last 20 years. You look at that controller and you go, oh yeah, bright yellow, green and red buttons on gray plastic. It's just horrible.
Not to mention, man, now that I think about it, yeah, the 64 controller, that was god-awful. The GameCube controller was better, but still
I can
a mess.
accept the 64 controller, though, because that was at a time where joysticks were still, like, new.
Yeah.
3D was new.
Yeah, like, all of it was still
okay.
new, so they were trying to figure it out.
Let me
had
drop
C buttons.
Let me drop a bombshell on you that I
That's
think
true.
is actually
They
going
had
to
C
sell
buttons.
how much I fucking hate this thing. The N64 thumbstick is better than this one.
No, that's not.
It's
this
better
is
than
true.
this
No,
one.
That's
dude,
not
It
true.
is. It's
the
better.
ridges on the N64 controller are actually designed to flay the skin on your thumb.
Yes, that is true.
It is like
At least
put
they
a
respond
cheese
to what
grater.
you want to do. You
How-
can
how-
actually play games with it. This shit is impossible.
How many times did you play a Mario Party, give yourself a blister on your palm just by doing the spinning thing?
Oh, no,
The
yeah, no,
N64,
exactly.
I can actually feel the feeling that happens to your
on the
thumb. Because
thumbstick.
we played like hundreds of hours of N64 Smash Brothers in college.
Yeah.
And you'd like finish and you'd look at your thumb and there would be like a big red like oval here from where your thumb was touching the controller.
You know what bugged me was that it had the grooves along the outside edge, so as you turn it, it goes click, 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 click,
Yeah.
click, click, all the way around.
And
I
after a
want
long
it
time,
smooth.
you could blow into it and get the plastic dust.
Yeah, that's right. The plastic dust builds up, and eventually the whole mechanism gives way, and the thing just falls apart and gets loose.
All right, I may have been a little hyperbolic in my assertion that the 64 thumbstick is better than this one. I may have to rescind that opinion, but
I'm of the opinion that like until the DualShock 2 and the Xbox 360 controller, the SNES controller is like 10 out of 10. But then even the NES controller, the fact that it like just thinking about it, I feel like I have to use like all the muscles in my left forearm to press the D-pad. Like because it only moves in 4 directions. I'm like it
got stuck. Everyone's controller was stuck in one direction at the same time.
The NES controllers are just the very pointy rectangular corners made uncomfortable
Yeah.
to hold.
I would like run the edges of my fingers on them, and I would get blisters on the edges by my thumbnail.
Y'all just have sensitive fingers, man. That's the issue.
No, we
Well,
just played
we
too
were
many
gaming-
goddamn games.
I said we were gaming so hard.
so hardcore into it.
Yeah.
Shit.
We're core gamers, man. You can't mess with us.
That's why you're on the show, I guess. All right, that makes sense.
We earned it.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah.
Put the time in.
Anyway, this thing's a piece of shit. Buy the Pro controller; it's way better. Let's talk about Theater of the Absurd. Theater of the Absurd, if you would.
We could do that
please.
if you want.
Mr. Nicholas, yes, thank you.
So I recently, in my Steam grab bag section of my stream that I do each week, I just sort of pick out a weird game that's like something I didn't think I'd ever like or want to play, just to try something new and different. This week I did the hidden object game Theater of the Absurd, which hidden object game right there tells you most of what you need to know about it. However, I actually ended up having a pretty good time with it, which I didn't expect. Enough so that I actually would recommend that people check it out if they're reticent about maybe trying a hidden object game. It had all of those stupid tropes, like, okay, here's a screen where you got to find 20 things. There's like a box of stuff. Hey, click on them. That's fine. But that wasn't like the only thing that was going on. There were actually some minor puzzles in it, a little bit of point-and-click exploration style stuff, and a really cheesy but hilarious, like, macabre demon story going on in this thing. So the premise was like, you're this person who can identify old school, like, nasty demon ruins, and you go to this guy's mansion out in the middle of nowhere, and you go identify that his demon red cube is fake. So he's like, God damn it, I hate that this is fake. And then he throws it on the ground, smashes it. He has a Satan cube. Yeah.
All right, his demon red cube. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm
So he
following
smashes the demon cube on the ground, and it actually isn't fake, and it has a demon inside of it, of course. and it comes out and it kills him, and it like possesses his daughter. Ooh. So now you have the job of exploring his crazy ass mansion and finding the things you need to put everything back together again. Like, you can't save the guy, he's super dead, but the daughter might be savable. Mm-hmm. So you go and you do your thing, you explore, you click on stuff, you look for stuff. Some really bad cutscenes happen with silly voice acting, but you laugh a little bit and you'll grow as a person by the end, damn it. So for $1, like, you could do a lot worse. Oh, it was on sale for $1. I think it's $5 normally. Nice. Yeah, if you haven't played hidden object games, maybe try this one, or don't. It's up to you. But I had an okay time with it.
Was there anything in particular that drew you to this one, or were you just...
Yeah, it had like a pretty nice graphic style. Mm-hmm. It was surprisingly well rendered. If you've ever been to like a Blizzard website, you'll know that they do a lot of this stuff where there's like a still image with 5 layers of fog over it to give the impression of lighting effects. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of stuff like that, like a lot of still stuff with a couple of animations to give it the appearance of stuff going on. I mean, ultimately, it's still a still frame, but there's plenty of art happening in the space of that still frame. Mm-hmm. And that by itself was enough to kind of attract my eye to it. And then, you know, the clicking on stuff and exploration. It felt a little like Devil May Cry without any action. Mm-hmm. Like a point-and-click Devil May Cry game.
That is a similar feel to it. Weird...
Yeah, well, just imagine a weird May Gothic Cry, castle.
But you hate the action.
If you wish Devil May Cry was a point-and-click adventure.
Yeah, there you go.
It's actually not that far off anyway, in my opinion.
Sure.
It's okay. Mm-hmm. I'll give it 1 thumb up.
1 thumb up. All right. Then.
Well, what's the other thumb doing?
Yeah.
The other thumb is... It's on an analog stick somewhere. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
It's $1.24 right now, so 75% off till August 7th, so there you go.
Also, you're getting the collector's edition, which has an extra chapter after the ending.
Nice.
Which has actually the most interesting puzzle in the whole game after the game ends. Mm-hmm. Funny enough. So if you're into that, maybe try it.
Dope. All right. Theater of the Absurd is available on Steam. $1.24, normal price $5. Mathis, please tell me all about The Long Dark.
The Long Dark is a game that was in early access, I think, 3 years ago.
Yeah, dude. Early 2014. This thing's been
early 2014, and it is.
Let me put it this way: I bought it in a Steam sale before I became disillusioned with purchasing things in Steam sales. So,
yeah,
it's been a while.
It is a survival game in the purest sense. There's no gimmick. There's no like zombies or monsters or any of that stuff. It is you are in the wilds of Canada after a plane crash, and it is up to you to survive the harsh winters by hunting and creating fires and managing your body temperature and calorie intake and hydration. And it is a hardcore, basically, survival sim. And for a while, it was just in early access. It was just a sandbox adventure, and you could pick the difficulty, and the difficulty would determine how aggressive the wildlife was, how common food and supplies would be. But the story mode was not in it. And then 1.0 launched 3 days ago, and 1.0 launched the first 2 chapters of the 5-chapter story that is out. And the game is excellent. It always has been excellent. I've adored The Long Dark since its inception, and I'm shilling its t-shirt right now. It has always been a really, really good survival game that each update has drastically changed how the gameplay is for the better and made it more difficult. And the story is voice acted, depending on if you're playing a girl or a boy, by female or male Commander Shepard.
Yeah, I thought I knew who that was. That's right.
Both of them, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're both the Commander Shepards. The art style is good, and it's one of those games that, and I know it's undue and I'm going to get yelled at, but it's a Unity game that doesn't look like a Unity game, and it's very, very pretty. Mm-hmm. I love it, man. It is a hardcore survival sim that I adore, and I'm so happy hit 1.0, and I'm so happy is as good as I was hoping it was going to be, and development was always pretty smooth, and they were pretty transparent the entire time, and it was great.
I assume you have dove into the story content by now.
Yes, I am in the. I'm doing the story content on the channel right now.
How deep are you in it right now?
Hour and a half.
Okay, so
not too far. Mm-hmm. I'm still in the first chapter. I'm assuming each chapter is going to be as long as like a chapter in a Telltale game. My guess is going to be each one's going to be like 2 to 3 hours long. Mm-hmm. It's pretty haunting and it's pretty eerie, but at the same time, you know, there's no ghosts and there's no zombies or anything like that. Yeah. It's just you in the wilderness and discovering like dead bodies and kind of looting them for stuff.
The default position shouldn't be to expect there to be zombies and things. That's just a gamer thing that we've done.
I was going to say, that's kind of refreshing, isn't it?
True. I can't think of a lot of hardcore survival games that don't have like a weird supernatural gimmick though. Like all the survival games that I've played always have some sort of enemy that you have to outlast.
It's like that White Walker-esque threat that is always looming.
Yeah,
you know?
But this is just time management, resource management at its purest. And if you want a challenge, like playing interloper mode, where food like in houses is super rare, and you really need to like craft like a bow and arrow and hunt deer, or grab a rock and hit a rabbit with it and stun it. Like that's the fun part for me. But it's definitely not going to be for everybody. But if you like that style of game, I think it's pretty fantastic. You played it too, Baer, but how long ago did you play it?
Yeah, so I played about 2 hours or so of the full version that just came out a few days ago. So I played a bit of the story, and then I jumped into the survival mode again as well, just to check it out. So from what I played way back in 2014, I'm pretty sure is when I was doing the series on it, the game has just become so much better gameplay-wise alone. Like, it's way more fun to play now, which is, like, it wasn't really that enjoyable back in its early access state, but I definitely saw where, like, the potential was for it to be interesting and captivating. But as far as what you were actually doing, there's not, you know, a lot to say about it. It's still kind of rudimentary as far as, you know, your complete process is. You're most of the time you're just, you know, clicking things and waiting until the process completes and that kind of stuff. But they made the menus a lot more intuitive. That radio menu, I think, is brilliant. I don't think they had that for the first
they didn't have that until like last year.
Yeah, so I'm really glad they added that too, because that makes the entirety of, you know, like managing your food and your water on the fly like way easier compared to what it used to be. They have made some changes to the, like, I can't remember exactly, but I feel like they might have added like another material or two, like, so you can.
There's a ton of new materials.
Okay, so maybe I just haven't even found all that many, but yeah, there's a lot more than there used to be, and I'm still like finding new stuff. So it's pretty exciting.
For me, like I like you do kind of nail it. Like the basic like moment-to-moment gameplay of like clicking on something and looting isn't terribly thrilling. I will say, and I've said it since the beginning, and especially true now, that their audio design is fucking fantastic, and it makes those kind of quote-unquote boring tasks really fun because the audio that goes along with it is really nice. But it's a game where the gameplay really is your decisions. Like the depth lies in your it's pure management. The depth is in managing your calories and having to make a decision. Okay, the weather outside right now is good. It's good enough to travel. I know I can hit some houses down the street. I have like maybe 2 hours of daylight left. Do I go now where I'm still a little hungry, or do I risk going to sleep, going out when it's daytime, but maybe waking up to a blizzard, meaning it's going to be way colder, I could freeze to death, and my clothing is going to get destroyed, and I can't see anything. So if there are wolves around, or a bear even that's around, I could die by just having decided to sleep for the night, and now all of a sudden I either have to decide to go out and freeze to death or stay inside and hope I don't starve to death.
Yeah,
that's the kind of like decisions in the gameplay loop of this particular game that I really enjoy.
Right. No, and like you said, like this is a pure survival game, and you're a much better reference point for this than I am, of course, but I feel like it's definitely one of the best survival experiences available right now. Just it nails so many aspects of what makes these sort of games appealing. Like I said, like they just make the UI so much easier to navigate through and sort out all your shit. It's the atmosphere is great. Like you said, the sound design is phenomenal, but it's also just like the presentation of everything I think is really well done. It's good, man. It's real good. And the story mode, the art style on the characters is like, it's a little weird. It's a little like it kind of takes you out of it almost.
Listen, so the story is like, base story is like your ex-wife comes and desperately needs your help in delivering some medical supplies to a town. And it's funny because she looks kind of normal, but you look like a clown.
Yeah.
Like you just failed like a Canadian clown. And you're like, oh man, I wonder why they divorced. I'm like, I know why they divorced. He ran away and joined the circus. The dude is just a clown and he has a beard. It's actually like the character models are kind of silly.
He's a goofy look. I'm trying to find his face in the trailer here so I can show chat, but it's just it's a goofy looking dude.
He does look. He looks kind of silly. It's unfortunate because I don't think Astrid looks silly. She looks fine.
Yeah, she looks.
It's just your character, your male character. I don't know what the female character looks like. The male character looks like a fucking clown. Unless you play Astrid as a, you might play Astrid as like the female character.
You got a glimpse there, Chad. But anyway,
it's hilarious.
Silly.
Yeah.
They did raise the price, I'm pretty sure as well, didn't they? Coming out of early access.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
But yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I've had a really great time with it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to dive back into it. I don't think I'm going to play it through the story mode though. From what I played, I was like, yeah, this is nice, but I think I actually prefer just doing the survival mode. It's just
story mode, as far as I could tell so far, is literally just survival mode, but you have a path to walk along.
Yeah.
Like you have something to track. You have to like go a very specific direction.
And like it's like I wonder how many people were clamoring for that. I don't know if there's even like that much of a base of players for the Long Dark that are really all that interested in it.
I think we all were when we were making YouTube series of it back in 2013.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, it's good. It gives me an excuse to go back to it now.
Sure,
it's fun.
All right. Anything else, Long Dark? It's all good.
Yeah, now that I can think of it, it's a good game. Play it.
$35 just came out of early access, available on Steam right now. Cool. Nick, please tell me about Infinite Minigolf.
All right, Infinite Minigolf is a mini-golf game where you don't score via strokes.
Oh.
That sounds like the weirdest thing, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do tell.
You don't score via strokes. Instead, you score via picking up gems and bouncing off ricocheting things and activating things. It's very different. But the general premise of it, it's a very polished, very pretty, and very fluid animations, very lively-looking game. Designed by a developer who I believe did a very popular mini golf game on PS3. So there was a bit of actually like some clamoring for them to do this PC version of a similar game. And what they ended up with here is a game that tries to do sort of like a Mario Maker for mini golf approach, where there's a level hub and you can play tournaments and you can grab tons and tons of custom levels. Has a very deep and elaborate sort of custom golf course creator. Unfortunately, it's somewhat constrained by only having 3 themes. There's a Giant's House, which is just like as if you're inside, but everything is huge and the perspective is kind of weird. There's a Halloween theme, and there's a Santa theme, like a winter kind of thing. So as long as you want to make a golf course within one of those 3 settings, then you're good. Outside of that, though, the game has a ton of unlockables. Customize your character via different clothing, find different golf ball designs, different putter designs. It seems like enough content there that if you are really into it, you could probably get like 20 or 30 hours out of it trying to unlock everything. I do believe you probably won't stick around that long because it's a bit tedious. There's a tournament setup, right, where there's 4 different like leagues within each setting, and each one of those 4 leagues has 3 different difficulties. You start with only the novice one unlocked, or the beginner one. You go through all 4 of them, and then it unlocks normal. And as far as I can tell, they make very minor course changes, but not anything serious, and the AI only gets like slightly harder. So it's really kind of quite repetitive to do it that way. As far as I can tell, that's like the main way you generate currency in it too, is to play the tournaments or to do the quick play, which just kind of grabs a smattering of various online courses, most of which have been okay, actually. There's been a few that have just been like, here's a straight line to a hole, but largely they've been more interesting than that.
Yeah.
The general consensus around how they want you to play the game is also a bit different from most mini golf games. They generally want you to get a hole-in-one on every single course. And the way they design it is like, it's a pretty obvious path to get to that hole. But if you want to kind of go off in other directions, you can pick up extra gems. And in that case, you're going to end up boosting your score, and you might end up beating someone who did get a hole-in-one just by doing something clever.
Okay.
It's not my favorite approach, honestly. I wish they would add a mode where it's just regular mini golf, but I guess if you're sort of into a party setting, maybe that's more what it's like. It's sort of like if golf with your friends was a simulatory golf experience. I'm saying that with very loose quotes. This is like the arcade analog to that. It's very much a casual mini golf game, or aimed toward that group, it seems.
I have to imagine then, like, a good part of the appeal for this particular one is going to be the level editor. So how, like you mentioned, there's only 3 real like settings that you can make levels in, but how robust is the editor itself?
It seems quite robust. You can select from I think it's about 20 or so different base tiles, and then set them up however you want, raise and lower elevation, change pitch and direction. You can mirror things, and then there's like a ton of different objects that you can just add, scale them up and down, rotate them, and this and that. I found the controls were a little bit unintuitive. I'll probably pick it up if I spend some more time with it, but it didn't like make obvious sense the first moment I booted it up. So maybe I just need to put a little more time in, but it didn't grab me right away anyway.
Yeah.
But I do think that's kind of the focus of the game, is make some courses, upload them, and have fun with people online, I believe. So far, I haven't played it online with anybody, though, because I don't know anybody else that has it yet. And it is $15. So given that if you're playing it by yourself, you're probably not going to get a ton of enjoyment out of just playing the tournaments. I don't know, it's maybe a little bit of a steep ask, but also the game is quite polished, as you can see from the trailers and stuff, or the footage you're probably running. It looks okay. It's a pretty nice looking game. It's just, it doesn't have a lot of diversity. So it's kind of a tough one to recommend, but also now that I already have it, it's pretty good.
I will say, I think I found out why people may be confused. See, this little lady is using a hockey stick.
Yeah.
She needs a golf putter because that's there are rules.
Have you seen Happy Gilmore?
I mean, did you see the end of Happy Gilmore?
He uses a hockey stick as a putter.
Yeah.
In Happy Gilmore.
That's true. Actually, what happens at the end of Happy Gilmore?
He hits that amazing shot and saves his grandma from the seniors' home while simultaneously embarrassing Shooter McGavin.
Damn it.
Grandma didn't pay her taxes. Why didn't she pay her taxes?
She would have.
I know.
She didn't have any money.
There you go.
All right, fair
I didn't
point.
I didn't mention there are also power-ups to this game. So again, sort of fueling the arcade casual direction. There's actually a lot of power-ups too. There's one that helps you fly. There's one that lets you control the ball, which is actually kind of an interesting way to do it, where you'll hit the power-up, activate it, and then you can turn the screen, and the ball will go wherever the screen is turned at that moment. And you can combine that with other power-ups to make chains of various things. So it gets complicated that way, but that's the only complicated thing about the game, really.
Yeah. So where would you rank this on our mini golf tier list at the moment?
It's above Vertiginous Golf, but below the other two.
Okay. That's fair. We're starting, man, this is really gonna flesh out, I bet, over the course of 1 or 2 years. We're gonna have 10 or 12 golf games that we gotta weigh against one another.
I'll keep them all in sort. I'll get them. I'll write them down in a text file. I'll take care of this. I got golf. Don't worry about it.
Good. Sweet. All right, that's Infinite Mini Golf. It's available now, $15.
Stop making golf games. Start making Ball 3D, but better. It's a very similar process. You do need netcode.
Well, I mean, we've said this so many times already, but Ball 3D, but better is Rocket League.
No, there's somewhere in between. I want it not with cars, but basketball.
You just want disc basketball that functions well.
It doesn't have to be discs, but I do like that
Should
I can
they
jump
have
on
arms?
all your heads.
Is that a
They can have
make or break?
oblong ovals for arms, like me kind of.
Okay.
You know what? Just give me NBA Jam on PC.
Yeah, that'd be a big one.
Yeah, that'd be
No,
good.
I like the detailed control of actually turning to put your back to somebody.
Detailed control.
No, there's
Then play
detailed control.
3D.
Then play
You
NBA
played Ball
2K17.
You played Ball 3D. You remember how we would
so
do
much
D on each other.
nuance and complexity to those
Yeah,
shots, man.
you get close to somebody and then you mash the space bar until you take possession.
No, never.
That's
knows
only
how
when
it-
you're
he knows what I'm talking
under the
about.
hoop, and then once you get the ball back, you line up from exactly the opposite of the hoop from 3/4 of the way across the court, and there you take a shot when you've gone full power.
What
Ball
about a
3D is
basketball?
almost great.
What about a basketball game that incentivizes you to not just hoof it from your own basket into the enemy basket?
I was passing, man. I was getting you guys. You had open looks all day.
NBA Jam's great. I love NBA Jam. I'm the first to admit it's a great game. I agree. But you do get something different out of 3D control that you don't have going on in the bird's eye perspective of NBA Jam. Being able to move around and weave in between each other, with that kind of detail and pass like that, feels good.
Dude,
What
in
kind
Ball
of
3D,
bird watches a basketball court from that angle?
One stuck in the rafters.
Larry Bird was also a good answer.
That
man.
was a good
This
answer.
thing-
But Ball 3D, you can put your back to the player and dance
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
Yeah, and then
That's what I was trying to
jump-
say.
Then they'll jump on you and take the ball from you.
They'll leapfrog
That's 'cause I'm
over your
aggressive.
shoulders.
And yes, I did play test NBA Jam when I lived in Long Island. Acclaim had a home office right by me, and my
Ooh.
parents signed me up to be a beta tester. So I got to play NBA Jam early.
Damn, dude. That's a cool story. How was the experience? What'd you go do?
It was This is a room, and you sat and played a game for about an hour, and then you wrote a couple of things down on a piece of paper and left. And I was like a little kid, so I don't imagine I wrote very much useful on that piece of paper.
Can I have the game now?
Why isn't Michael Jordan in the game?
Yeah, good question. One time when I was a kid, I was at the mall, and a woman approached me and said, hey, we're doing some surveys. If you answer our questions, we'll give you a little bit of money. You can get some more candy. I was holding a bag of candy at the time. She saw that I had some candy with me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I want money for candy. Let's go do a survey. So this nice woman in the mall led me through the mall into a back room in the mall. Which,
this is shady.
Yeah, no, this is what my mom thought of it once I told her after the fact when she was looking for me in the mall and she couldn't find me. And I
was getting money for candy from my lady, Mom. Don't worry about
it. That's exactly how it happened. I went back there. I watched a few commercials, answered some questions about the commercials, and they gave me $5. And then I bought a little more candy. And then my mom found me and was pissed off. And I told her, hey, Mom, it's all right. I got more candy money, so we're good.
All those years telling you not to take candy from strangers. She never thought to say don't take money from strangers.
For candy. Did she not, the lady that got you, did she not want you to ask your mom for permission to
I wasn't with her at the time, so maybe she just assumed I was a really adult 6-year-old and I was just out by myself shopping, you know, so I was able to handle things myself.
Very odd of her not to ask that. Okay.
That's stranger danger if I ever heard it.
Yeah. Anyway, Infinite Minigolf. It's $15. It's on Steam.
Yeah, this is Nick's week of, you can buy it if you want, but I'm not sure I recommend it. It's okay.
It's a great theme.
Don't worry, buy Long Dark. You won't go long.
Yeah, there you go. Buy the Long Dark.
You won't go long?
You won't go long in the Long Dark.
Okay. There's Infinite. Let's get to... Ryan, please talk about Fidel Dungeon Rescue.
Fidel Dungeon Rescue is a roguelite puzzle game that takes place on a grid, and the way that it works is you have a cute little dog, and your dog has HP, and you try to kill as many enemies without overlapping the path that you've taken along the maze of the dungeon. So it's almost got like a snake-style mechanic where you trace your way through the dungeon, but you can never double back on space that you've already gone. So there's a little bit of like planning to determine, like, okay, what's the maximum amount of loot that I could get from this floor? Because there's very light, like, leveling up mechanics that give you more HP, and HP is actually extremely important because it basically dictates the number of enemies that you can hit consecutively before having to heal. So it's very, very similar to desktop dungeons. There's another game that people were talking about all the time that in the comments that I can't remember the name of, but it's a more traditional roguelite than you would think at first glance, and in my video, I played really badly, but I'm actually not as bad at that game as it looked like I was in the video. For some reason, I just kept having brain farts and literally continuously miscounted the amount of HP that I had and got myself killed.
Yeah, I played a bit of this as well, and this is way more fun than it has any right to be, I think. Like, I am blown away by how much I enjoyed my little time with Fidel, because... like, I saw this in my email, and, like, every now and then, I don't know what it is, but just an emailed game will pop out at me like, hey, give this a shot. This might be fun. Like, Limelight, I think, was like that, and then, like, Monolith ended up being like that, too. This was another one, and I'm glad I continue to trust my gut as far as that's concerned, because I really love Fidel. And like you mentioned, they've got those little level-up mechanics. They've got just, like, there's so many very simple systems. And the game itself is honestly very simple, but they've crammed a little bit more complexity than you would expect into it, where like you do have to give a lot of thought to every single stage. There's procedural generation, of course, so every time you load it up, you're going to have a brand new experience. But the levels themselves are a bit static in that you'll every time you get to like stage 6, I think it is, you'll have the aliens that'll show up that you have to crush to proceed, and then there'll be like the midpoint. Then you'll always have to interact with the same. Little cutscene. But other than that, there is quite a bit of variety to the way the levels will actually load up, and it's weirdly compelling just to have to, analyze every possible path, considering factor A, factor B, factor C. All the meanwhile, they've got that Spelunky ghost-like mechanic that is literally a ghost in this condition that is giving you that real-time pressure all the meanwhile. So they've taken again, just a lot of pretty simple ideas and fleshed it out into a very playable, great lunch break roguelike kind of game that I am totally digging. So kudos to them. Fidel is pretty dope. I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It just kind of stood out in my email because, I mean, the reason I played this is because I got an email from Jonathan Blow that just said,
this was that game. Okay.
This was that game. The subject line was just, it is like Puzzle Spelunky. And then the body of the email was just a Steam code.
Yeah.
So I was like, you can't get an email like that and just ignore the code. Mm-hmm. So I played it, and I'm glad that I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that your ideal PR conversation, really?
Yeah, it's
probably,
like
right? Well, I mean, like
a developer I respect emails me and has literally nothing in the body of the email except for the Steam code.
That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, if that was how we got all of them, I think that would be ideal for everybody.
Well, I mean, we can't have Jonathan Blow send them every time. Is the
sure
thing,
we
so.
can.
He's not
a
doing
busy
anything.
man, I'm sure.
Anything else to say about Fidel? I'm digging it a lot.
So the developer of Fidel was also making a game previously called Storyteller, which I looked at like 4 years ago, and apparently is still coming out. So this is like tangential to Fidel, but that game's really cool in that it gives you like 4-panel like comic book styles, and then it gives you 4 panels, and it gives you an objective, like write a love story. So you're like, oh, there's a boy, then I'll take the panel that's just the girl, then I'll take the panel that's them together, and then like a heart panel or something like that. And it'll be like write a breakup story. So you like take the heart first, and then you have them together, and then the third panel it's like one, and then the fourth panel is the other one apart. So like that's apparently still coming out. I'm excited for that as well.
Is this that's the Ernesto one you were talking about? Is that the
no,
same
that's another one.
Oh, okay.
That uses the same mechanic as Fidel, but in a more, I guess, like robust game. I guess it's the same sort of like you trace a maze and you can't double back over spaces you were already in.
Okay, cool.
So he's a busy man.
Yeah. Working on a lot. Neat. This is... Who is this, by the way?
This is Daniel Benmergui.
Okay, there you go.
He is a Argentinian developer, I believe.
Cool.
I'm going to turn up my AC as well.
It is
hot as hell.
I just see Baer stabbing Elijah. Oh, God, it's hot. Just take Ruka. Just...
Oh, God, that would make it so much worse, wouldn't it?
It would just be cat hair stuck to his face. That would be awful.
So much hotter.
Good God.
All right, yeah. Fidel Dungeon Rescue is on sale for $7.64 until August 8th, at which point it is on its normal sale price of $9. So there you go. Nick.
Hi again.
One more. Let me let me get some details about Aporia Beyond the Valley, please.
This is probably the closest to not being in the category of, it's okay, you could buy it if you want. This one I actually enjoyed.
Cool.
A bunch. Aporia is a story that is told without writing, so that's one of those. We got a lot of those in the can from prior days. It is a first-person adventure exploration puzzle game, so sort of like a Myst, but, you know, not point-and-click. And very obtuse, very kind of obscure in how they tell the story. But you wake up in this like stasis chamber in this room that you don't know where anything is or what's going on. Very much like Breath of the Wild, actually. And you look around, you start to piece together, oh, there's like a tapestry over there, and it's got some stuff about the civilization, and there's like 6 or 8 different people, different jobs, and they kind of got all this stuff going on. All right, let's walk out of the cave. And walk out of the cave, and you have this like device that you don't quite understand. It's like a vial full of this glowing orange stuff, and it lights up, and you use it as a key everywhere you go. And little by little, you kind of branch out and explore this big old island full of puzzles. And as you go further into it, you kind of piece together little parts of the puzzle and start to understand to some degree where everybody went and why there's skeletons everywhere and why you're here and have this weird device. At least that's the goal. It's told through these little cutscenes, basically like projections. You put your device into this thing, and then it'll play a little movie for you. And it's all shown through sort of like, I want to say puppetry, but it's not that. It's just like drawn, what looks like puppets talking to each other all through gestures. And it's enough to kind of suggest this somewhat complex story. I found as I kept playing it, though, like the story seemed like it was explaining everything really well. And then by the time I got to the end, I did finish the game. I was like, what just happened? I was really
no.
confused. And I don't know how much of that is me being stupid or how much of that is just like it's actually not told as well as I thought it was. Somebody linked me in my chat when I had finished the game to a Steam thread of people trying to like piece together the story from parts that they understood to try and like bring it all, you know, to one piece. And I thought that was kind of neat. It's like a collaborative community trying to put together the story.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I was going to say, yeah, you got to look at that and think like there's two possibilities. There's either they didn't tell the story very well, or it's like cryptic enough to encourage people to try to find their own meaning out of it. So was it A or B?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Know?
I need another person, like one of you guys, to play it and tell me what you thought of the story to then know how far off base I was to at least have a comparison point. It's a very pretty game as well, as you could probably see from the footage. It's done in CryEngine. Generally really nice looking all the way through. There's a couple of areas that are a little bit muddy, but for the most part, quite pretty. The game did suffer from a memory leak, and I got in contact with the publisher who told the developer about it. So I don't know if it's just me, but the game did actually like take out my stream at one point because it was just filling up all my RAM. And then it just crashed my old computer. But you know, if you save and quit and restart every 2 hours, you'll probably be fine. I don't want to count that as a huge mark against it because it's probably just something they'll patch soon enough. The game itself is really good, though. Like, I generally recommend it as long as you're not looking for a big finish, because, again, I don't know that there is one. It actually had a choice at the end, too, that I didn't actually fully understand either of them, like how they affected the world or the character, which is also kind of silly.
I'm getting a mixed bag from you on this one, dude, because it's like you're giving me such a positive vibe, but at the same time, you're telling me all the things that I hate so much about games like this, dude. Because like,
the puzzles aren't that hard mostly. Like they're mostly cool to solve. I had a good time walking around exploring things, and it has that sort of cryptic version of feeling like the way the Solace project had, where you're kind of going into areas that feel like you shouldn't be in them, at some points, and that's kind of neat. There's also a genuinely terrifying thing in it that is like personally designed out of my own fears.
Sounds like Souls Project had the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever finish Souls Project?
No, I didn't go back to it. I got very far into it, and it was like, this is more work than fun.
Did you get to the Weeping Angel part, basically, in Souls Project?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
It had climbed like a really big tower. It got struck by lightning a lot, and then like a giant storm came in again. And
it's past that. Yeah, there's a part in the Souls Project where like there's little like either baby corpses or baby dolls, and you turn around and then you turn back and they're near you and they're like freaking out. And
I did do that. Yeah, I remember that.
That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, so
you don't remember that?
I forgot that that's what you meant by weeping angels, that they were like baby dolls.
Yeah, it was like
But in a similar way, it has that insidious creepiness that you don't expect to be all of a sudden scary, and then all of a sudden there it is.
Yeah.
And they actually do explain why that scary thing is there. So, yeah, it's a mixed bag to some, I guess, but I enjoyed it personally, and I would still recommend it despite the problems I had. It's not a perfect game, but it's like a 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. That is just, man, it's... I want to, you know, like, give it the benefit of the doubt, but that is just, like, the one trope in these games I can't stand is... They have this ethereal, cryptic meaning that is hidden behind all these different layers of the story that you have to unravel, and then you unravel everything, and it's like, it's a mirror, and it's like, the answer was within you all along, but no, it's not what I'm looking for. I need you to give me some sort of, like, closure, you know? And that's what I want out of games like this.
The funny thing was, it wasn't that cryptic, though, ultimately. There was a lot of exposition, even though there weren't any writing or any words about it. And I felt like I should understand what happened, but yet there's just this like minute difference in my understanding to theirs that left me confused.
Okay.
So I feel like someone else would have a better shot than me.
Sure.
I want to clarify that this isn't meant to be a shot at the witness, and it's going to come across like that, but I watched you play like probably 25 minutes of this, and I was like, I think I'm just not at all interested in games that are like, we have a story, but we're not going to do a walking simulator. Instead, there's going to be some kind of like repeating puzzle mechanic over and over and over that kind of gates the story. Like in this, it seemed to be you were doing like a lot of adjusting mirrors to point.
That was a section. It was like a chapter that was all mirrors. It was like a specific area. The most of the game did not have mirrors. It was just that area.
All right, I got perhaps an unrepresentative subset of the game then.
There was a pretty clever like water valve puzzle earlier that I think you might have enjoyed, maybe. I'd be curious what you think.
I just like it's not fair to like to hold every game to this standard, but I kind of feel like Abzu is what I want in those games.
Yeah.
Which is just like Abzu has no puzzles at all, basically.
Yeah.
It's more of just, hey, we have like themes that we're going to try to get across, and this is the way that it seems best to do it.
And they like minimally gamify it.
Yeah, exactly. And like another example of a game that is actually very well received that does this that I am not a huge fan of is Portal. And I'm not saying Portal's like a 2. It's probably like maybe like a 9.9. But I don't like being gated by puzzle mechanics, and then the loop is like, okay, I completed the puzzle, now I get like a little bit of story dripped in, then I completed the puzzle, I get a little bit of story dripped in.
You don't
for the
know,
most part, at least.
But that's like the Portal loop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
It's like the defining element of the game.
Yeah.
if you took the puzzles out of Portal, it would be hot garbage. But I just for whatever reason, like for me, it just doesn't interest me. That it feels like you're just the puzzles only exist so that the game is like not 8 minutes long, which is not fair. But
I personally like solving the puzzles. I think that was the meat that I preferred over the story. So if you don't care about the story, you just want a cool exploratory island to look around, I think the game is probably going to be more likely to satisfy you than if you go in for the story.
I also think
like
that Portal without the puzzles might just be like shells sitting in a room. I don't know if there's anything else to the game.
I'm not trying to say that Portal would be better if it didn't have portals. I'm just saying that Portal has like it's I don't know. It's like 10
Portal is a puzzle game with a story, where something else is a story game with some puzzles.
Yeah, that's
Which is a weird way to put it, but I feel like that's the best way I can.
I prefer the puzzles over the story in most of these cases. So for me, that's what I went in wanting. So in that way, I was not disappointed. But if you went in wanting story, yeah, you might be. I
also feel like I've seen 100. I don't know if this is made in Unreal Engine, but I think I've seen like 100. Okay, I've seen 100 great-looking puzzle games that also look boring as sin. And I haven't played it myself. I'm not saying this is boring, but I will say that when I saw you play 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this is a game that like looks really pretty, but I'm not sure.
That went down from 25 to 10 real quick, dude.
I'm just not sure that I'm really invested in the idea of like this is a really great looking game and you like move blocks around to get story trips.
I think you found the absolute worst point to come and watch me, because
I did also see it crash your stream and computer.
Oh, so you found the 2 worst points. That's very unfortunate. Yeah, so if you're Ryan, don't watch me at that point. Watch a different part and then get a better sample set of what the game's about. It's mostly walking around and like trying to maintain your juice meter, that you have enough to like light a torch to see where stuff is, and then solve a puzzle or two. The juice meter is just the orange stuff that fills up your canister that you carry around with you. And there's just like stuff sitting around on the ground. You just got to look for it.
That sounds like the random ass survival quote unquote elements in Solus Project.
Yeah,
where
there's a
you have
bunch
to
of
keep
parallels.
your food meter up, kind of.
This is just really forgiving, though. Like, nothing about it was frustrating, other than the one time I got stuck in the mirror puzzles, like almost at the very end. Other than that, the puzzles were pretty frictionless, made sense, seemed clever-ish. They were rote puzzles, but they were like a little bit more interesting than just here's some puzzles. So I had a fun time playing through it. 7-something out of 10, probably. Maybe get it if you're into that idea.
All right, cool. Right on. $17 on Steam right now. Alrighty. Nick, I'm not going to take the focus off you, buddy. Tell me about Hollow Knight. The first expansion for Hollow Knight.
Well, I mean, your experience is probably more representative than mine. So the DLC came out yesterday, and the DLC consists of a new power and 2 bosses.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
The bosses are hidden. Well, there's more DLC coming. It's just not yet.
Yeah, I knew that.
The bosses are kind of just there. Like, you don't have to do anything to get to them, as far as I know, unless because I only saw the one of the 2. Are we just spoiling what the bosses are? Because I mean, I don't know how we're going to talk about it without it.
I guess I'm
out
going
of
to have to.
curiosity, does it add anything like to the lore at all?
I'm going to throw up.
Don't tell me if
spoiler
it does,
warnings are up, so feel free. There you go. You got it. Spoiler warning.
Well, the boss that I did fight only adds theoretical fiction lore. It's not anything that actually affects the game. You know, the relationship between Zote and the admirer, the girl bug that's on the main. Like, she loves Zote, after you bring her back, and then Zote steals her away from you by lying to her and all that. So then she writes like 121 pages of fan fiction about him and dreams about him at night. And if you go into a room, there's like a portal that takes you down underneath her bed area, and under there is a shrine to Zote. So you whack the thing with your dream nail, and then it takes you into her dreams, where she dreams that Zote is the mighty, powerful knight that she thinks that he is in her head. And that ensues with, you know, a really laborious boss fight that you have to do over and over. So that's my experience with it, was you have to fight Zote 10 times, and each time he gets harder. And only the first 3 times does he get harder in a really interesting way. Beyond that, he just does 1 more unit of health to you until he can kill you in almost 1 hit. Or actually 1 hit if you don't have enough HP. And it gets slightly faster. I think I fought 6 or 7 out of 10 of them, and at the end of it, I was very salty and didn't want to play it anymore.
Do you need to beat it for the true ending so Ryan has a step along the way?
I
They've added another threshold.
Does it have to be major news every time Hollow Knight updates?
Oh, this guy trying to fucking flip the script.
Because it doesn't update every week with a new gun.
We already did
I'm sorry, I failed.
Podcast specifically about Hollow Knight.
I failed to include
hold up. Don't talk about PUBG on stream. He might ban us. He's ban happy. He's a very ban happy dev.
That is not fair, Ryan. That is not fair.
I didn't bring it up at all until Mathis took a shot at me. I was content sitting here quietly, looking, you know, zoned out. And then Mathis took a shot at me. I responded in kind.
With a shot at
me. Correct, yes.
That's all he knows, dude. Once he gets attacked, all it is deflect. That's the only response. Yeah.
Doesn't care where it goes. It's,
you please keep talking. Come on, don't.
No. I want to know more about the.
I'm not trying to tell you to be quiet. I'm just saying, leave me out of it. Let me be like, not have any opinion about Hollow Knight. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. You know, I gotta echo it, dude. Just because it's first of all, let's talk about the fact that this is the expansion was divided between like 3 upcoming releases, right? Is that what or am I getting that correct?
I believe it's 3, yes.
Okay, so they're going to put the new area in at some point. That is still coming. This is still going to be free as well, so, you know, you take with a grain of salt whatever we say and know that it is free content, so, you know, can't be too upset about it. But yeah, anyway, the Zote fight, it's a little silly, and I don't really know how I feel about it, because I only went through like 4, I think I only actually completed 4 of them. And it really doesn't, like, it doesn't give you a lot of reason to want to keep fighting him, apart from, I guess, seeing what new adjective they add on to his description when he becomes the mighty, glorious, powerful, almighty Zote. That'd be cool, too. But it's just, it's a little underwhelming. And then there's also the Dung Defender fight, which, you know, we got our spoilers up, FYI. Which is about the same thing. It's just kind of like a redone boss battle that continually gets more difficult the more you do it. So it's just a little underwhelming, I guess.
They wanted to just add in more endgame content that's just harder for the sake of being harder. But that's not really what I wanted, personally. After going through the 3rd Coliseum, I was like, I never want to do another iterative, this gets harder and harder for no reason thing.
It's like I told you before, like, we had them on here, it was, like you said, by their own admission, the Coliseum was not everyone's favorite part of the game, but they kind of just are making more Coliseum content right now.
And I wouldn't have minded if the Zote fight got meaningfully different on each encounter, and it does for the first 3, so I was kind of optimistic, but then it just is the same fight with 1 more damage each time.
Yeah.
Until you just have to do it like absolutely mechanically and perfectly. And that's with all the stuff in the game, with all of the HP I have, with all the strength, the nail maxed out, all the best badges. It still takes a good, 30, 40 hits to kill him.
Yeah.
Which is a long time to be exposed to an enemy that fast that can kill you in 1 or 2 hits.
The animation of him flailing around with his sword, however, is fucking hilarious.
It's cute.
It's really funny.
You know, I don't mean to disparage the developers. They're great, and the game is great.
Yeah.
This just feels like a thing that like less than the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, the new area was by far what I was the most excited about, and I'm a little disappointed that it's not included in this release. So I'm definitely gonna check out that once it's, you know, come around. But this is a little underwhelming, unfortunately. But again, it's free, so you can't really complain all that much.
It's free and it's optional. And the thing is, for me, I'm a completionist. I want to do everything, and I did everything before this came out.
And now you
so
have
now
it.
I feel obligated. Yeah. It's like when Dark Souls, you 100% it, and then there's a DLC now, and the boss is a pain in the ass. I gotta do it though because it feels like I have to.
Yeah,
I know I don't have to, but I have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's the Hollow Knight expansion. It's available right now for everybody that owns the game. If you don't own the game, well, you're in luck. It's on sale. It's $10. Like, regardless of everything we just said, if you don't own Hollow Knight already, buy it for $10 because that's like totally worth it. Totally worth it.
This will only even matter to you once you finish the game.
Right.
And even then, you don't have to deal with it if you don't want to.
Even
and
then,
outside of that, it's great.
You didn't hear anything we just said because you had your ears plugged because we had the spoiler warnings up. So, welcome back. Hi. Sorry we couldn't talk to you for a few minutes. Okay. There we go. And let's go ahead and turn that into our Game of the Month for July conversation, which we have a few actually pretty solid contenders for Game of the Month July, man. It wasn't bad.
Unlike April.
Game of the Month July. Anybody want to... Anybody want to take the reins here?
You've got some anger coming out today. What is it?
Ryan, you go ahead and take the wheel.
There's too many side-scrolling platformers. It's not 1995 anymore.
So it's not The End Is Nigh. That's not your Game of the Month July, then.
No, but I'm reserving judgment on The End Is Nigh because I have not played enough. So, I mean, my Game of the Month is I played a lot of stuff, but I didn't finish anything. Out of the first 2 hours of about 10 different games, my Game of the Month is probably Baer.
Okay.
I think it is a cool mixing of a couple of different genres. It's a story that's told very stylishly, and the like sports ball mechanic in it is novel and interesting. Not necessarily Supergiant's best work. Maybe, maybe not. But it was a joy to play the little that I did.
Did anyone else play Baer? I don't remember. I played like you did. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Mathis, any?
I mean, I echo. I think Baer is probably my favorite game of last month as well for similar sentiments. That's the only thing that comes to mind when I think of games that I played last month that were new.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what else I played.
Kingdoms and Castles?
Yeah, Baer's better than Kingdoms and Castles, though.
Okay. That's fair.
Hopefully Nick doesn't pick Kingdoms and Castles then. You just sold him out.
All right, so we got two...
Anti-Hero came out this month as well.
That's true. There were a few, man. Like, honestly, I had some a bit of debate for what I wanted to pick for this month. There was I'm going to mention Kingsway upon my turn. That came out this month as well. The End Is Nigh, like I just said. That was July 12th, I think. And then, it was a pretty solid month, honestly. Not bad. Nick, what about you?
Yeah, I got to go with End Is Nigh. Actually, for some reason, I had it in my head that it was the end of June, so I was like, oh, July, what happened in July? No, obviously, the End Is Nigh happened in July, and, gotta rep that. If not that, I would have probably said Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Can't forget that one out there. It's not a release that I think a lot of people made a huge fuss about. It just kind of came out.
We didn't really talk about it on the show.
Did I even talk about it at all?
Please, how much time did you put into it? I had no idea you were even playing
only
this.
About 3 hours or so. I'm still at the beginning. I mostly just wanted to see how it was different from the original and what improvements, changes they made. For those that might remember the original US release of the game and not the international one, it's actually different. They had a license board, or basically the place you put all your stats was this sprawling, periodic table of stats. And they changed it in this one. So you kind of pick more discrete classes instead of you can sort of customize into any direction you want at any time. And I actually preferred it the old way more, but apparently the international version had this version in it originally. So I got the sort of off to the side weird version in the US version initially. I know there's a very strange rant to go on, considering probably half of you don't even know what I'm talking about, but it was like the defining element of the game was how the job board worked and the progression mechanics to it.
Yeah.
The other thing is the gambits, which are awesome. This basically lets you program your own AI for the companions you have with you, and they can just farm for you if you want. And what they added to it, in addition to changing all the resolution, making everything prettier, They also added a fast forward button to the game. As odd as that sounds, is actually a huge deal because it means you don't have to wait while the NPCs farm for you.
Yep. Among
and
other
I've heard
things.
people say that if you had to add that to your game, then your game is fundamentally flawed. I disagree. I think it depends what you like out of the game. And if you're looking for a sort of cookie clicker experience within your Final Fantasy, this is the only one that's got you covered.
Sweet.
I also think it's got a very silly but enjoyable story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a huge fan of 12. I don't think a lot of people love 12 as much as I do.
You are going to give it to the End is Nigh, though. You're going to give the nod.
Yeah, I am going to give it to the End is Nigh, but I'll probably get more time overall into Final Fantasy 12.
Mm-hmm. How many hours do you have in the End is Nigh now?
I was just about to look that up myself. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing it's probably about 20-something at this point. I didn't play it as much as I thought I was going to because I've been playing it in these like little blocks on my stream.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I would just like veg out and play a game like that for 50 hours over the course of 3 days.
Yeah.
I just didn't get a chance to do it with the way my schedule's been. Doesn't mean I haven't wanted to, but then again, once I saw how the combined cartridge has worked, I didn't want to a little bit.
Dude, I gotta be honest, I rage quit End is Nigh, like pure rage quit. I got to Ruin and it ruined me. Like I can't beat it, and that was not what I expected, but still great, of course. I mean, like
it's coming from somebody who played and beat Super Meat Boy, End is Nigh kicked my ass.
Mm-hmm. It's hard as fuck.
It is so hard.
A few
I've got 21 hours on it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the difference for me between Meat Boy and End is Nigh, what made me want to play Meat Boy even more was that the unlocks felt a bit more meaningful. Like, you get new characters, you get different, like, things going on in the game. This is, like, you usually just unlock more challenges to unlock more challenges, right? And it's like, that's fun for a while, but I do want to feel like I finished something, and it always feels like there's more, which some people might love. I don't know.
Yeah.
Difficulty is definitely more punishing, though, in this, I feel.
Sweet. I want to talk about Kingdoms and Castles before I give my official nod, because I have been starting up a YouTube series on that and loving it. I think like the issue that folks had that I was wondering about myself with it being shallow is kind of mitigated by the fact that there's just like enough. What is the Ryan? You used like a phrase for this sometime a while ago. There's like maybe just like intrinsic storytelling, I guess, where.
Emergent gameplay.
Sure, let's call it that. Where like I am able to just like place myself in my village, and that's I live here, and I am a part of this, and this is all my city, and we're building it together. Like I'm totally getting that vibe from this game, and it's adorable. I like to click the dragon and fly around, view my town from his perspective. I enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kingdoms and Castles I'm having a blast with, but Kingsway I'm actually having even more fun with. I was so surprised by my love for Kingsway, but I put 12 hours into that now. I just had, yesterday I just did a 2.5 hour victory run, actually, like front to back nonstop, which was a blast too. It's pretty great. It's this Windows 95 RPG looking deal that's just got this funny little gimmick of the windows moving around, and it's just got enough little things to keep me going, and it's also pretty well made at the same time for what it is. Like, it's just, it's weird to say that considering like the way it looks, but it's just, its presentation is awesome, and I just have so much fun. I have such a hard time explaining why this is fun, because it shouldn't be. When you look at it and watch people playing it, it's like, you're having a fun time? Yes, I am. I'm having a blast. I am totally enjoying this, and it's so weird, but I dig it so much. Kingsway is a gem for me here in July.
There's still value in just saying that you genuinely enjoy something and that you find it fun.
Yeah,
I think other people that identify with other picks you've had in the past will realize, well, if I had fun with those, I'll probably have fun with this.
I'm trying to...
You should definitely, first, going to Kingdoms and Castles for a second.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Banished?
Yes, loved it.
Okay, cool. I'll say, if you've never played Banished, you should play Banished.
Yeah, that was great too. Game. Totally agree. All right, cool. Well, there we go. That's 1 for Kingsway, 2 for Pyre, 1 for End is Nigh. We got it. Throw it on the tally marker. Okay, cool. And that will bring us into everybody's favorite segment. It's Ask Roundtable. Ask Roundtable, the weekly segment. You send your questions to roundtableyt@gmail.com. Feel free to send a few more, please. We could always use more. roundtableyt@gmail.com. We will do our best to answer them. This week's question comes from Rose. Now we gotta access those parts of our brain we're not used to accessing right now. We guess it's let me read the whole email because it's pretty nice. So hi all, Rose here. Been a long fan of everyone here as far back as NL's first Super Meat Boy video. Go back way back in the day, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
And the first Project Zomboid video by Mathis.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
At the end
old.
says, "Dear God."
That is like 2011.
I finally bought Zomboid the other day, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Did you?
Not going to play it, but I bought it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll go a little further. She says, this week I was curious where you guys think video games are missing out by not taking use of certain locations and points in history. While Assassin's Creed has done a good job of variety over the series, she feels they are even still missing out. Periods such as the fall of Berlin in 1945 or even Japan during the Second World War seem sorely missed except in first-person shooters in the past, and I feel could be perfect locations for these types of games. So she asks, she's curious if we have any series or genres that we feel may suit a time period or just a point in history that we feel is unexplored.
Play any Paradox game and you have the entire human history covered.
It's all covered, right? Like they've done it.
They've done it.
You can watch various numbers change in any setting in human history.
That's right.
Yeah. You see, in colors change as well.
So that's exactly like that's the question she's asking, man. Is like we got to find the right genre for the right moment in history that has not been like perfectly examined yet.
Well, like any period that comes before year zero. That it's the video games either do like hey, it's ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, or if you get past a certain level, they're like it's fucking dinosaurs. This is like that's the dawn of life on Earth, or cavemen. Somewhere in that vicinity.
But there was an awkward growing stage between then and like those two periods, right? Yeah,
there's like a few thousand years of sweet history that take place between like the dawn of recorded history and year zero that could be cool. You see like something about the Achaemenid Persian Empire or something like that could be cool, and please like just not Assassin's Creed. That's all. I just
all right,
any game set in like preferably a game that treats the story with some reverence that's not an Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed is cool, and I'm sure that it like introduces people to all sorts. It gets people interested in history, and that's cool. But I'm just like,
what do you got, Mathis?
Hear me out. Honey Pop.
Okay,
except you're King Henry VIII.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
So you're just murdering your wives.
You match three to get them in. You match three to get them in bed, and then you match three to execute them and run the next one.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That's weird.
There's only two mechanics. Is the whole thing. I do like the idea of examining humanity's awkward teenage years just to figure out what happened, man.
Oh, instead of collecting their panties, you're collecting their heads. Genius.
You're really in on this King Henry Honey Pop, man. Shit. Okay.
Everything I thought about is already an Assassin's Creed game. I'm not even joking. I thought about 4 or 5 different ideas, and then I was like, nope, they did that one. Did that one too.
Yeah, they've been having these brainstorming meetings a lot more than we have.
Have they done a caveman Assassin's Creed yet?
No,
I have to ask because no one knows all of them.
Far Cry Primal.
I know, but Assassin's Creed, I mean...
I don't think so.
Assassin's Creed is third person. Far Cry Primal is first person.
It is.
Cavemen didn't understand the first person perspective.
Yeah. Okay, so I think probably the closest thing I could get to an actual answer would be to remake EVO Search for Eden, which I think was a fantastic game that was actually awful. I know those things don't make any sense together. Like, it was extremely poorly executed, but it had a great idea. And if you don't know the game, basically, you start at, like, the lowest period in, that there was life, and you work your way up from, like, a little fish thing. Like, you eat a bunch of stuff in a side-scroller, and then you get to grow an arm or a leg or whatever you want. And then you take that on to the next area. It goes through, history a little bit, and then you go on land, and then you decide if you want to be a rhino or you want to, like, fly, or what kind of dinosaur you're going to end up like.
Spore?
Yeah, but not Spore, though.
But not
Like,
spore. I mean, you got to just have that caveat most of the time anyway.
It's got to be good, but it's got to be that same concept.
Okay, gotcha.
And not spore.
Not Spore.
Not Spore.
And not Assassin's Creed.
I also
well,
think
unless you're a fish.
like it would be cool if they made a game that took place during a war where there weren't like many projectile weapons. Well, okay, where there weren't guns. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So like a war in the medieval era, but not just Deadliest Warrior style. Like here's 16 badass soldier types from history. So like I like For Honor. I actually like it a lot, but I would also love to see like a story-driven game in, you know, like the 100 Years' War or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, or the War of the Roses, which there's literally a game called War of the Roses, but it's like a multiplayer kind of.
Chat's going to say Mount and Blade right now.
Yeah, but Mount and Blade is like, it's janky.
No, Mount and Blade is janky. It takes place in a fictional country.
That's what I mean. It's not historical as well.
Mount and Blade kind of looks like trash. Am I
agree, but Rob loves it, so I give it respect.
I also love Mount and Blade. I think it's
one of those.
It's an ugly game, but it's really
like
good.
I've never played it, but I just like every time I look at it, I'm just like, that is so visually unappealing.
It's hard to go back to it now. I think it's one of those things where, you know, I found the same thing when I played the first Mass Effect, where I was like, this game is. I understand why. I know people like 2 more, but I understand why this game kicked something off. But in 2016, at the time, it's a little bit dated.
What is that medieval RPG coming out? But it's like no magic. It's just straight up medieval times.
You're talking about
it's coming out
what
soon.
the game that is known as
keep it going.
Kingdom
Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, chat.
That's
that comes out
Monarchy.
soon. February of next
Early
year, so
2018,
soonish.
yeah.
No, this is. I'm excited for this game because it's just like an RPG, but you're just in the Holy Roman Empire.
Has there been a game made about the Civil War?
Gods and Generals from 2002.
Okay, I was.
It
wondering.
sucked really bad.
There was also North versus South for the NES.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow.
I played the shit out of that game as a kid, though. I did. I loved it for some reason.
Would it be politically not wise to make a game about the Civil War?
I was wondering that too. Yeah, I imagine that's probably what prevents most people from doing it, is that they don't really want to.
Because the United States still exists.
It's not. They haven't really put it under the bed yet.
But it's been like 200 years.
They still need some time to heal, I guess.
A lot has been made about being on the wrong side of history, and that phrase being loaded and a little bit cheap to throw around. But there is a right side of history when it comes to the Civil War.
It was a winning side.
The Civil War is now history.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll stop myself now.
We're towing the line on that political conversation, aren't we? Any other time period, series, genre y'all feel hasn't been covered properly? Or otherwise, we'll say thank you, Rose, very much for the question.
Anything outside of Europe between the years like 0 and 1945.
Basically, big window there, dude.
Yeah.
You got a lot of space.
It's either like, I'm trying to think, even games like set in North America in the pre-1945 era are like almost all about organized crime.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much what history has to offer, isn't it?
Sweet.
I don't know. I'll take, like, instead of London 2012, give me London, like, 2648 or whatever it is.
Game about the very first Olympics.
Future Olympics.
Yeah.
Dude,
sports that have never been invented.
Very first Olympics game, that's got to exist, right?
I don't think so.
Like the ancient sports. Like hitting a ball with your hip through a hoop that's attached to the wall.
I think that's just an Aztec game.
Pretty sure I saw that in Road to El Dorado. Actually.
Oh, yeah.
What's the game where you take a stick and there's like a ring and you kind of keep the stick going? Keep the ring going down the road.
That's the old-fashioned like stick and ring game.
Yeah,
they probably play that there.
6-year-olds wearing bowler caps and full suits that push hoops
We're
down
playing stick ring.
streets. Yeah. All
Good
right.
stuff.
Anyway, yeah, thank you very much, Rose, for the question. Appreciate it. If you got a question, send it on over to roundtableyt@gmail.com. We'll answer it as best we can. That's going to bring us into everybody's favorite segment. After their favorite segment, it's time for Nick's Weird Games. Didn't get a theme song suggestion this week.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if I think we've already done Kiss from a Rose. I was going to do that in honor of Rose's question for Ask Roundtable. I think we did, though. I feel like we already did that.
It does sound. I feel like we may have done.
Yeah, I won't put you on the spot anyway. I'll give you the week off.
Can't remember.
You feel like, I mean, if inspiration strikes, I won't stop you.
There's too many ways. It's
good. All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's the weekly segment wherein Nick's going to go grab a game from his... Well, he's already grabbed it, let's be honest.
There we go.
There it goes.
Hey, whoa!
Grab a game from his many, many weird games. We're going to try to guess it based on clues. Close your chats. Let's play. Hey, Nick.
Oh, you're not doing any?
Yeah, fuck it, dude. They know.
I thought you were going to do it.
Dude,
Okay.
Nick's Weird Games in the theme of the Hokey Pokey.
No, I thought he was going to play the
Nick's
sound
weird
file.
game, take it off the shelf, guess what it is, and then you hate yourself. You do the hokey pokey. You don't hate yourself. That's
Do
not
you
true.
hate yourself
No.
when you guess my
That's all I
game?
can think of to rhyme. I'm not as good as he is at it.
I
I'm
just
I'm
thought
sorry.
you were sad. I didn't want to push you too far, really. All right, I got a game for you today that comes by way of Midway Games.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that name.
Featuring the Havoc Game Dynamics SDK.
It's
Popular.
Shadow Man.
No, I've already done that.
Yeah.
That didn't have Havoc physics anyway. We're talking about a North American release in 2004. Came out on Xbox, PS2, and Windows. Chances are you have all seen this game, but you may
MDK?
not remember it. No.
Damn.
We're
that
looking at
movie?
a third-person shooter.
Okay.
Also has cooperative multiplayer, which I actually didn't remember at all. Oh, okay, so there's a few really interesting bits of trivia about this one.
All right. I'm ready.
In June of 2008, the full version of this game was offered as a free download hosted by File Planet with in-game advertising.
Oh,
So it's sort of a
that's
not
weird.
typical way of distributing it.
Yeah.
You play as Nick Scryer, who has no memory of who he is.
Psyops.
Let's go.
I played the shit out of that game.
Dude.
You remember
nice.
his name?
That's
Yes,
impressive.
sir.
That's. Oh, yeah, I played that too.
This game was actually
game.
really good.
Yeah, no, it is. It's good.
Loved. I actually
The Mindgate
recently-
conspiracy. Yeah, dog.
A couple months ago, I did a video on Judge Math that's like top whatever games that deserve a sequel, and this was on the list. I fucking love
It's real good.
Psyops.
I totally remember. It was like it's fun to play. I totally remember this.
I remember for some reason this one level where like there's like furnaces, and I just like lift a guy and I just hold him in the fire.
Yeah,
and he screamed and he burned it.
Like the telekinesis was functional and
Yeah.
did good things. Like it was so much fun to use.
They let you break the game, and I think that was the most fun part about it.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's
You
a
just
sandbox.
levitate shit up in the air and break everything, and then you could just skip half the level. That's great. Do that more. Do more of that.
Awesome.
So
Psyops, you got it.
man. Hell yeah.
I don't
Such
even
a
know
good
if
game.
chat got it in time. You did that
Yeah.
so freaking fast.
Snuck in. I can't. That's so funny that his name was what triggered it for you there.
yeah, it was just like immediate flashback.
I thought for sure you weren't going to get it off the name.
Yeah.
And I followed it up with the most generic plot point of all time.
Oh,
who has no memory of who he is.
Yeah.
That's like 80% of video.
You do like flashback boss fights, and one of the guys you have fight is like a dude with an afro, and he's like hurling trucks
Oh
at you.
yeah, I fucking remember him. Mhm.
God,
Shockwave 527, you appeared to be the first person who got it in my chat. So congratulations.
You remember that? You remember that song from Rock
What
Band?
is that song?
That's Shockwave by Black Tide.
That might be some DLC that you buy.
Actually, you know what? I think that was DLC. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. Mhm.
Now, if we were talking about Avalancha, I'd be all over
that's
it.
a Guitar Hero 2 jammer, isn't it?
It's the GH3 when they started
yeah.
putting in like 5 songs that weren't in English.
Right. Yeah, they had to get the variety in there. They added the fucking, what was the one that was like whistles And, well, God, it was a mess. It was like the worst song I've ever played in a Guitar Hero game.
Has whistles.
It started with a Y, I think. Someone in chat has got to help me out.
YYZ by
No,
Rush.
it wasn't YYZ. No,
It's not whistles. That's okay, wait. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'm going to look up the Guitar Hero 3 track.
Please do. Someone in chat help me out, too. It's like, I think if I just say, like, the worst song in any Guitar Hero ever, people might just know it based off of that because it was so bad. It wasn't even fun. It was like the same 2-button chord.
Was it? These were
over
bonus
and
songs.
over and over. I think it was a bonus song. Yeah, it might have been a bonus song. I'm pretty sure it started with a Y. I want to say. I'm gonna look through chat. I don't know if they got it. They may not remember. Was it Yakety
Come
Sax?
on, it's not
Doesn't sound
Yakety Sax.
right. No, I don't think that was it.
It's Yuru the Fire and Flames.
No.
No, I don't
Alright,
know.
yeah,
I
well.
definitely do remember. There's some actual like hot garbage bonus songs. Like there's some. I'm not saying that they're like bad to listen to, but there are some metal songs in Rock Band that are in my opinion,
God, yeah.
zero fun to play.
Visions is just a mess.
That's the one I
Visions
was
is
thinking
awful.
of.
Yeah,
that was
terrible.
it. Yeah.
Terrible.
But do not include FCP Remix in there because
That
that's
was fun.
actually awesome.
That was a really fun game.
That's
or
the
song
like
to play.
technical song, right?
That's the Fall of Troy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was great.
I remember that.
All right, cool. Psyops, the Mind Gate Conspiracy. We got it. Nick's Weird Games. I saw the
Give me a
list.
sequel. I want another one.
You saw the
I
list.
saw
What do
the
you think of the
list
list?
on the subreddit. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I was very pleased by how many X's I saw. I didn't think we had gotten that many. We
Yeah,
did pretty
there's
well.
a bunch in there.
All right.
Thanks, Mathis.
Yeah.
No problem.
For the most part, I got a couple of them. I got the Ed and Eddie game when Dan had his round. I remember that distinctly.
Dan.
Yeah.
I didn't have his
Star
round
Ocean.
on my list.
Oh yeah, you failed to include the Dan round. That's
I
right.
failed to
Right.
include it.
Dan's Weird Games. That was that unique moment.
Star Ocean. Very hard.
I had my week where I did Legend of Legaia, and then I'm pretty sure my next one was like Final Fantasy VIII or something. I ran out very quickly.
No one will guess that one.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VIII.
Cool. All right. That's it. That's it, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through again, if you can believe it, through another episode of Roundtable Live. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We really appreciate, of course, the support. Watching live here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. You can catch the VOD over on our YouTube channels, BaerTaffy, Maths Games, and Rock Lee Smile. And if you missed, if you want to follow us on Twitter, that's at Roundtable PC. Want to give a big, special, huge, mega thank you, shout out, thank you very much to those of you who are supporting over on Patreon.com/Roundtable. Want to send a big thank you especially to Julian Abelsgaard, Jonathan Graham, Scotty119, Ricky Grist, James Peed, Peter Sunnison, Ellis Spice, John Kalchik, O. Thomas Games BR, Jakar Sampson, Kolnar with a dance number, Sahoa, Jamie Tinsley, Joseph Boss, Penn Gillette, Michael Bush Larson, Talks to Walt, TJ Majesty, Chaos, Never Gonna Say Goodbye, Theorist. He's near the end of the song. It's amazing. Colby Klein, Greenlight, Oren Saltzman, Eric Schooley, Brizzlebrit, Positron, Myth Scarab Mediocrities, Justin Sommerfett, Logan Ray. Thank you all so much. A lot of those names I've been reading basically since the show started, and it really means a lot to me that they're still there. So thank you guys so much for staying up on that Patreon support. And if you'd like to pledge a few dollars a month to make this podcast happen, please feel free to go over to patreon.com/roundtable and make a pledge. We also want to thank those of you subscribing on Twitch. That includes Midori Sensei, Alex Timo, Shannis, Perfect Hunter, Mosu Kitan, Hasdrubal, Kodak, and I think that's it. I think that's all we got. Yeah, there we go. Thank you all. Thank you for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. I will not be here next week, and I think it's safe to say that we won't be doing a show with that being the case. I'm going to be out of town, so expect the show to be back on the 18th. August 18th will be our next show here live. Twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast at 3 p.m. Pacific, and we'll see you all then. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See you later.